Hey you guys, welcome back to KW's Garage. Here I am. I know I've told you I was going to get a video out more often, and it's been like early summer, maybe even the spring since I got one, but life just happens. But here we go on my daughter's 2016 Chrysler Town & Country. It's a new to her car, but it has a transmission issue. So we're going to be literally removing that transmission, replacing the torque converter for a P0740 code. And all the research I've done says it's the physical torque converter itself, not some electrical thing like all the troubleshooting guys say. So we're going to go ahead and start on that. We're going to replace the torque converter. We're also going to replace, which right there in that box, which by the way, they really love their torque converters. I'm going to tell you that. Also got some parts here we're going to put on. I got a new gasket for it because the gasket on there has been used twice already. And the reason for that is that earlier in November, I actually went up to Ohio and was troubleshooting it and replaced the transmission filter and took a look inside. There was a little bit of metal on the magnet, which is not great, but for the number of miles on it's not that unusual. So it wasn't that telling. So I reused the rubber gasket that was already on it. So I went ahead and bought a new one. Even got the thing the code says it might be is the, and that's what it is, the torque converter lockup solenoid. So I got that. We are going to go ahead and replace that just because I don't think that's the problem, but we're going to go ahead and replace it while we're all in there. I'm also going to do some troubleshooting on the Solenoid pack, they call it on these. It's a 62 TE transmission, and they've got totally electric, basically shifting mechanisms, and so I'm going to be troubleshooting that, doing some electrical readings on it to make sure everything is okay there before getting it all back together. So this isn't going to be a step-by-step process on doing this, because if you're looking at this and you're thinking you're going to do this job, you know you have to take the battery tray out. One of the other things I've got here is this mid-lift car lift. It comes up about 4 feet, and so that's new to me. It's brand, in fact, it's brand new. I just set it up, got it running yesterday. It's a Stratus 9,000 pound unit, and I got the 110 volt version, which they come in 220 as well. But we're gonna get started here. Here we go. All right, let's get you in here and show you what's going on so far. As I said, we got the battery box out, and we've got these transmission lines here. They got these little plastic pieces in them. I got a special tool that goes in there, and where you can just slide them right out. You don't have to actually take this off. And got some emission stuff we got to pull. Looks like we got a pretty significant oil leak from somewhere. It's pretty significant. Okay, so maybe we can find out where that's coming from. You know, that's where the solenoid pack connector is. Behind there is all the solenoids that control the transmission, and we'll be able to test those once we get it out and about. I took a few bolts out of the transmission there, you can see, just so that I can get some brackets out of the way. I'm definitely going to leave these other bolts in until I get the torque converter unbolted and all that. I'll show you that here in just a second. Got a few things out of the way. Now it's time to go ahead and lift it up and start doing some stuff on the bottom. What I'm looking at here on the bottom is I've got one massive oil leak, so I'm not sure where that's coming from. Could be the rear main seal, which I'm thinking about replacing anyway. As I get this thing apart, I'll be able to tell, but go ahead and get the pan, the transmission pan. Go ahead and empty the fluid out of that. Check it out, see if there's any more metal in it. Put it back on, but I just want to check it out and see, and empty the fluid as well, because I'm going to have to take the CV axles out right here, and when I do that, fluid will go everywhere. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, is grab that. Alright, let's see what's in this thing. Just taking off every other one right now. Now I have to start being a little careful. There we go. Got the fluid coming now. Like I say, this looks really good still because I just changed about 4 quarts of it last month. I'm sad I have to waste this fluid, but that's the way it goes. Alright. Let's see what we got. Let me show you what we got here. Let's see. I just cleaned this off. So there still is a little bit on there, but there isn't much at all. So there is some sparkles in there, which is some clutch material, which is probably still coming from the torque converter, which has some bad clutches in it. So we know that. But I did put a new filter in here last time, so I'm going to try not to replace that again. But if there was too much of this stuff, I would have, but I think we're good to go on it. So now it's just time to clean this up again and put it back for now. Okay, I got the pan cleaned up, even cleaned up the old gasket. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the old gasket on there for now. Don't worry, I'm going to put a new gasket on it, but I am going to take this front cover off here once I get it down and be monkeying around all in there. So at the end, when I get it all back up, I will take the pan back down and put the new gasket in and inspect the pan and make sure nothing's falling in there, that kind of thing. Clean it up. I didn't realize you guys were with me. We just finished that up. I'm going to clean up and get this bracket off and start getting other stuff out of the way. Tires off, get the CV axles out. Now they got the fluid drained. That way I can start getting things out of the way. Alright, good deal. I can't do it. I've got to clean this up. It's really, really bad. Should probably collect that. Yeah, I guess I should. Yep, I'm going to collect it. All over this rear member here. All over it. And I don't want to take too much of it. I do want to know where it's coming from. But goodness. I don't want to be wallering in it. Alright. Cover your ears. of years. So from what I hear, no one knows how to take that bolt out. Even though I think it's just a matter of hitting it. So I'm going to do what they did and just leave it. Now, I did unbolt one of the motor mounts, which it looks pretty good. So it undoes one of those, but there's still one on each end, and even one in the back that way back there I got to get. First, I'm going to get these CV axles out. That was easy. Okay, as you can see, I've taken some of the suspension stuff apart, and I'm now going to go and try and get this CV axle out of the transmission. And most of the time I need a tool, and so I got one of these, a special tool to remove CV axles. Some of you might notice this. It is actually a clutch fork for a manual transmission. It works pretty well for this. But this one's kind of tight, so we'll see how this works out. Let's see here. That worked quite well. Now I gotta hold this up. Down some more. There we go. This back in. That just holds it in place while we do all the other things that we got to go do. I got the other side CV axle out of the hub, but now I've got this really awkward bracket that I've got to get off, that I'll try and show you guys. It is right there. There's the CV axle right there. It goes down. There's a bearing there and a bracket. There's 3 bolts on that thing that are just up in there and are aggravating. So I am really not sure. I think I've got a plan for 2 of them, and I'm just going to have to wing it on the other one. So here we go. As you can see, I got a long extension for one of these bolts. It goes all the way to the back. One that I think will be easier first. I'll at least be able to break this one off. I won't be able to get it all the way out, but hopefully I can get it broke loose just enough to be able to run it out with my finger. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but we'll see. I got it loose anyway. I can barely get the wrench in there backwards. So once you get this bracket off, the CV axle will come right out. They look pretty good, so I'm not going to bother with replacing those. They should last quite a long time. Alright, there's one of three, at least. I think the other two are not going to be as easy though. Try this top bolt while I'm at it. Problem is I can't even see it. Feel it. And I can get the socket on it. And then I can see the socket. There we go. Ow. That hurt. Probably gonna get eat up with that thing. And I probably should go ahead and try to get that bolt out. Boom. See the abomination I had to get that thing out. Goodness gracious. I'm glad I bought these little swivel sockets. Those are nice. Alright. There's one more left. I don't know how I'm going to get that out of there. I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. Alright. Well, there's the bolt that I need to get out. And there's this little... Oops. There's this... Well... There's this little nub right here that's right in the way of me getting a wrench on it. And I can't get a socket on it. So I may have figured out a way to get to that bolt. Now we have a clear line of sight. Perfect. Don't worry, Tina. It'll still run. Well, it should still run. There we go. That's still a pain in the buttocks. I guess you guys are with me. All right. I keep thinking I've turned you off. There we go. I don't want to take you guys out. There. That was easy. Now I can see some stuff and maybe get the rest of it out. Okay, I went ahead and took this bracket off because I just put the impact on it and it came right off. I don't know what the other guys were talking about, but it came right off. So now I'm to the point where I need to go ahead and take the torque converter bolts off, the little bolts. And so I've got the little rubber things out, and I've got my little pry bar, and I'm going to have to rotate the engine around to where I can get to all the bolts. Now this screwdriver is one that my dad had, and he gave to me because I used to play with this all the time. And you may be able to see it, but I used a hacksaw when I was a young boy and destroying something like boys do, and seeing how they worked and what it was. So I now use this as my pry bar when rotating engines or prying anything else for that matter. This thing is gone through a lot of grief with me, that's for sure. Now we got an 18. Now these bolts here are real short and real small, but they are on there, so I got to use my breaker bar here to break it loose. There we go. They're also put on with Loctite. So I do have some Loctite in the cabinet up there. I'll use to put them back. Well, in the world. There we go. Yep, I'll have to use some Loctite to put them back in when we get it all back together. But what I got to get to is right here behind this flex plate, the torque converter. That's what we need to replace. So that's why I got to get the whole transmission down. There it is, little itty bitty bolt, but she's on there. Get some torque and lots of it. All right, let's keep going. I'm just using the flex plate, the teeth where the starter goes, as my thing to rotate the engine around. There we go, there's another one. There's 4 of these. I do like this design. You got this hole here. Makes it very easy to pry around. Usually got to find some kind of bracket or shove a piece of wood somewhere and get it to be able to pry, but this makes it really easy. Alright, we got the torque converter bolts out. We can start figuring out how to get this thing down. Alright, I've got pretty much everything underneath I can do so far. I've got the other motor mount off. I've gotten some of the bolts out on the transmission underneath there. I got a couple holding it in. And I've got to get the other motor mount off up top. So we're going to lower this down and get started on the top again, okay? Alright, so long as I can get it without, dropping it to the ground. So, okay, so what we're doing now is we're going to get that motor mount transmission mount and the very back right there. We're going to get that done, and that'll get that off, and that'll leave the front, or the rear, and the front motor mount to hold everything up. Then I got to figure out how to hold the engine up without it being from the floor. So using the lift, I'm going to be moving the car up and down a bit. So I need to figure out how to get the engine suspended where it moves with the car. So anyway, I got to look at that. And other than some random connectors, we still got to get our, I'll show you exactly what I do with that, with the transmission cooler lines. Those will be pretty easy. Other than those few things, got to suspend the engine, and then I'll be ready to put the last bolts off the transmission and drop it down. So that's what we're planning to do. To be continued. Okay guys, we're gonna go ahead and get these transmission lines out. I finally got the bolts out of the rear, or the side, the aft motor mount slash transmission mount. So now the only thing holding it up is the rear motor mount right here, and the one up front on the passenger side. So now we're going to get these transmission lines on. There's this little clip, this little clip thing right here that I gotta figure out how to get out. There's a little bit of a gap in it, so there we go. It's just that little clip right there is all it is. I'm gonna put this up here so it gets lost, and then I think we just pull it on out, I believe. There we go. Simple as that. And do the same thing to the other side. There we go. Got that one out. And get this one out. Alright, there is a little O-ring in there. That's what the actual seal is. But when we do this, we do need to seal up the hole so that it doesn't get dirt and junk in them, because that's always real bad for transmissions and engines and other mechanical things. Alright, we're going to leave that right there, just like that. Okay guys, I have decided how I'm going to suspend the engine. I've resigned myself to just using a jack stand on a block of wood on the engine itself, and that'll hold the engine up while we're doing the transmission stuff. However, that does keep me at this level. I'm not going to be able to raise the lift up until we get the transmission back in. Then we'll be able to lift it up and do some better stuff. So that's just where we are. And now what I can do is I've got this set up here for the transmission. It looks as if with the Harbor Freight they had a transmission jack. I thought they had a cheaper one, $150 or so, but there was nothing under like $240 for a transmission jack, and it was massive, this huge jack. And so I was kind of resigned as well to use this cross beam with my jack and use that and see if we can get the transmission out pretty safe with that. I think so. I've done it a million times with a 2x4, so this can only be better. At least I'm thinking so. All right, so let's get to lifting onto the transmission, and then we'll start taking some more bolts out. All right. Okay, it's actually the next day after some rigmarole and testing and playing and trying. My transmission modified jack scenario here with the beam is definitely not going to work. It's just too big. And so this morning I actually went back up to Harbor Freight and got the real deal, the real transmission jack. That's the one I was complaining about yesterday, which was so expensive, and yep, here it is. But one thing's good. I really like the valley for all the nuts and bolts and chain or whatever else I like to store there. I definitely like that. So we're going to be using this morning to get this transmission out. So let's get going. Alright. That looks a lot less sketchy. It looks very good to me. I've got some pressure on it to hold it. So now I'm going to go ahead and start taking loose bolts off the last bolts on the transmission. And then we'll have our engines resting on the jack stands. Okay, that one's gone. All right, it's sitting on the transmission jack. Found it. I'm gonna see about lowering it onto this. See how this goes. You're creaking. Okay, so it's on the one jack stand. The engine is. I put some more pressure on this. Now let's see about taking these other two bolts out of the transmission. And it should come loose. Yeah, separate them and then bring it on down. Well, let me show you what I'm trying to do here. Right now, that right there bolt is hitting the flywheel. And I can't swing it around because of that beam right there. Transmission is hitting that. So trying to get the engine up higher to clear it. So I'm gonna have to re-engineer this a little bit and lift that up higher to hopefully clear that enough where I can swing the transmission around and get it out. All right, let's get in here and let's see what we got. Like that bolt holder on the jack. Somebody's definitely been in this before, because I know the torque spec is not that high. Lots of excess RTV. Yeah, I have a feeling this is going to be a bear. Good thing about this jack, by the way, is I can use these little knobs to level it up and get the weight distribution better and all of that. So what I was going to do is sit it on my little table there and do this, but this is much better. So I was going to try and do this while I was in Ohio. Do this troubleshooting, replace that solenoid. But one of these two, I think it's this one, acted like it was going to ring off. So I decided to not do that. Up there. And we're going to see now which one it was. And I'm pretty sure it was that one. So let's delay the inevitable. Yep. That way I can feel good about progress. Alright. Here we go. I'm gonna be real easy and try to get it to back out instead of snapping off. I don't think it's loosening. Oh, yeah, it is. So take it easy. Oh. I think it's coming. There we go. It don't look good. I'm going to try to keep that one separate. I'm going to try to chase the threads and tap and see if that'll work. Let's see if we can get this separated. Oh. Okay. That was a lot easier than I thought. A lot easier than I thought. So this is just a Permatex gasket is all that they ever put there. So I'll have to clean this up. Put some more Permatex on it. So here is the torque converter solenoid, lockup solenoid that we're going to be replacing. Now, from what I hear, these tabs break a lot, but in our case, it doesn't matter because we're replacing it anyway. Like that. So if we weren't replacing this, that would be a problem. Now, a fella I looked at said when that happens, he would just put a zip tie around it to hold it in place. And that works. That's what it looks like. All the O-rings come with it, yep. Don't want to leave an O-ring in there. We got ourselves a new one. O-rings. Kind of lubricate the O-rings. Makes it much easier to slide in without pinching them or whatever. Snapped in.
Hi.
Hello.
Where do you want this?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
She had to give me some batteries for my ohm meter for my troubleshooting I gotta do. There we go. Snapped nicely. Okay. Well, I guess I could have tested this before I did that. You can still test it over there though, just to see if it was bad. Alright. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do some troubleshooting. I just replaced this torque converter solenoid, lockup solenoid. Now I'm going to try and make sure the solenoid pack is good. Make sure everything else is squared away. So I went online and found out what each of these terminals are supposed to be in terms of resistance. And so I found out that the common one is 10, so I put the positive one on there. That comes from the computer. And then all the other things control everything inside. So terminal 2 is the low reverse solenoid. So I want to see, it's supposed to be between 1.6 and 1.8 ohms. I haven't actually done this yet, so I'm not sure what this is going to say. But let's see what the low reverse solenoid is. 1.4, so that's right. Actually just below the spec, but the temperature does change it. So I got it kind of warm in the garage right now, so that should be fine. Let's go to underdrive solenoid, which is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1.4, okay. Now I'm going to go to 12, which is the line pressure solenoid. See what it tells me. It's 12. So that would be this one. It says it's supposed to be within 4.8 and 5.1, so it's right there. So that's good. And then the LC solenoid, which I think is the lockup solenoid, I think. I don't know of anything else it could be. But that's 17, so that's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 right there. See what that says, 1.4. Okay, so that's consistent with the rest, so that's good. Now we're going to go to 20. 20 is the right? 20 is the DC solenoid. So I'm not sure what that is, but it's supposed to be within 1.6 to 1.8, and it's 1.4, so it's consistent with the others. Same as 19. 19 is open. Let me recount, make sure that's supposed to be 19. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Oh. 18. So that was 19. That was OD solenoid. So 20. 1.4. Okay, so that's good. And let's do 21 as well, which is, by the way, the 2 to 4 solenoid. That's good. Alright, now we got some that go to 300 ohms. So we'll test those now. And let's see, that's terminal 11. Okay, so that's right next to it. Wow, 300 on the money. That's exactly what it's supposed to be. DC pressure 2 to 4 pressure signal is 14. So that's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 right there. What does it say? 301. Okay, now 15. 15 is the DC pressure. So I'm not sure what that is, but wow, right on the money at 300. And 16. What does 16 have to say? Well, 16 low reverse signal pressure 298. Yep, 298. You round that up to 300. Let's see. What's the other one? 18. Let's see. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 300. Okay. So that's all of them. So everything is ohming out great. And it looks like the looks like the pins that are gold are the ones that are supposed to be 300. Huh, okay. Interesting. Hey, just for fun, let's since I replaced that already, let's go ahead and ohm this old solenoid just for fun and see if it's any good. This should be 1.6 to 1.8, so I need to adjust that. Oh, that's 5. So maybe this solenoid was bad. 5.1. Yeah. So this solenoid was bad. I wonder if that was the problem all along. But Oh well. Alright, so at least we got that fixed. Now, nothing else for me to really do in here except just take a look at stuff. Make sure nothing looks damaged or anything. So everything ohmed out great. There's a solenoid too. Not sure which one that is. But behind this thing is the rest of the solenoids. And apparently you can individually replace the solenoids, but they don't sell it that way. So if this goes bad, any part of this goes bad, you got to spend the $450 on this. So that's nice of them. Alright, well, good deal. That concludes our troubleshooting. Clean this off and get ready to put that back on. As long as I don't drop it. Oh, didn't realize you guys were watching. Just cleaning up the surface here. Now I want to get on the pan, clean that up, and get this back installed. Then we'll work on the seals and priming the new torque converter. Then we'll be ready to start putting her back. I might clean it up a little bit. It's kind of dirty. Well, just so you know, I'm looking at a power steering leak as well. There's a leak coming from somewhere. I got to figure out where it's at. And I'm also going to take the flex plate off and see if that rear main seal is leaking. There is oil coming from somewhere back in that area. So I'm probably going to end up doing that. That's another like almost $100. But I'm here. Might as well. Alright, let's go ahead and get some seals replaced. Let me just take a small flathead screwdriver and get in there. A little lip there. It just comes right out after that. Alright, yep. And I've got my installation tool here. This is actually an old piston out of an old Geo Metro I had. And going down the road, that happened. Found it in the oil pan and just killed it. And it has one, well, it actually had 2 compression rings left. And so I just kept driving it. It vibrated a bit, but I drove it for like a week and put a quart of oil in it about every trip till I could get time to fix it. So that ran for a week like that. So now I use it as my installation tool. It's going to be our installation tool backing. Anyway. Here we go. Here we go again. Here we go again. We almost got it. There we go. And this is a wrist pin from Pastor Jay's rebuild I did. Wrist pin for, it's actually the pin that goes in there for a much larger piston. I use it. That was easy. Never had that much trouble with a seal. Well, it ain't coming out, I can tell you that. This is actually the most important one because you can't get to it without taking the transmission out. Now, these are usually a little more stubborn getting out. I don't really know why they're so stubborn, but there's definitely something different about them. Okay. I messed the seal up, so let me go get another one of those. Alright, so after breaking one seal and one trip to the parts store, I'm back here with the new parts, with a new oil seal, a front torque converter seal, and also the new rear main seal for the engine. So we'll get to that in a minute, but we're going to first get there. I also got a new plan for the installing the torque converter seal. Had to get a new plan since I broke the last one. So after breaking it and bending it up, I remembered I had this tool here. This is a camshaft bearing installation tool. Probably very few of you have ever seen one of these. I used this a couple of times on Pastor Jay's Dodge, putting them camshaft bearings in, or balancing shaft bearings in. They're the same style as a camshaft. And I use it for that. And I actually forgot I had it. So after looking for some more stuff, I found that this right here, the number 5, it's these 4 pieces with this rubber thing that expands to the diameter of the camshaft bearing. So I figured, I was looking at that, and it does the exact same thing here. It'll slide right on. It's kind of snug and it's flat all the way around. So I'll be able to hammer the seal directly on completely. And unlike my previous method, this covers the whole thing this covers the whole outside of the seal very well, and actually put the pressure on the outside where it's supposed to be. So we'll use that, and I'll use this big socket to hammer it on there with. So that's the new plan. Let's see how it works. Alright, so here we go. Here's my new seal. Looks the same as the old one, except it's not bent up. Alright. Now, I can slide my bearing tool on. Be even all the way around. Alright. Here we go. Wow. I think that works better than the actual seal installation tool. Wow. Wish I'd remember I had that for the other ones. Been much easier. Okay, I'm under the car where the transmission used to be, and looking and trying to find where this leak is at for power steering. Looks like it's one of those joints there, so I'm going to end up tightening those up, and hopefully that does the trick. But right now I'm going to take these bolts off of the flywheel slash flex plate. That's what it's really called, I guess. And take a look at this main seal. I see a little bit of oil here, a little bit of wetness, so I'm gonna take a look and see if I can find out where it's coming from. I'm gonna take that off and see. Okay, that's how we do that. That's odd. Let me get you in here. I mean, there's some wetness right here, but nothing here. Oh, wait. There is a little bit right there. So it looks like we're replacing the rear main seal while we're at it. Might as well. We're right here, which means we definitely need to change the oil, because I'm probably going to get stuff in it. So you got to take this whole cover here off. You don't replace just the seal, you replace that whole cover, which is pretty aggravating. Now here's the prized possession, the actual torque converter, which they really liked. So let's open it and see what we got. It's a genuine torque converter. Alright, this is certainly the easy part, because I just found out from searching online that we don't actually have to prime the torque converter, so I don't have to put as much. I mean, there's already fluid in it from the manufacturer, and they say that they already primed them, so all I have to do is really put it on. So all we do really is just make sure it's clean. Making sure everything is clean. Slide it on. You do have to rotate it. There we go. That's better. Okay guys, we're ready to put this transmission back in. I got the torque converter seated properly. I've got the seals replaced. Troubleshooting is done. Torque converter lockup solenoid is replaced. And all that's back together. So the transmission is ready to go back in. Right now I just got to get the flex plate torqued up. And then we will get to wrestling this transmission back in. but that'll do it for this episode. Stay tuned for part 2 to see me rest on this thing in, okay? Alright, have a blessed day. Thank you very much for watching. Okay, guys, we got this. Okay, guys, we've got the transmission out, and flex plate is ready to go back on. I got the rear main seal replaced, as you guys saw earlier. I've got